Are we live? Oh, okay. We are live. Cool.
I used to be the one to do that.
Let me turn my audio down. Nice. Noise. I did wait a very long time to tweet it out, though. So currently we are just us, which is nice. It's like...
Yeah, if you see how many people are actually watching, that's one thing, don't mention that on the stream. It'll just make me nervous. I'm just assuming it's just us three here coding some shaders and having fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the chat. You don't need to look at it or anything. We'll tell you. I mean, unless you want to, but we'll tell you if there's like pressing questions and whatnot.
Oh, I wish I had two monitors. I really need like a second monitor for all these windows I have open.
Well, this is why I got a big one. It's so nice. When I got the big one, I was like, how was I not already, like, how did I code on such a tiny screen for so many months? Also gifted myself a chair with a back for the new year, which I also was like, how did I sit on a fucking stool for 8 months? This is ridiculous. I was like turning into
floor. You were sitting on the floor.
Also on the floor. Like all of my, yeah, that was bad idea. No bueno.
I'm in stool gang. I have a stool gang.
How do you do it?
I stand most of the time. I use the stool when I'm too tired from standing, and then it becomes like an actual break, and it's actually useful.
Pumpardet is here. He's telling us we're live. We know. We're just easing into it. Hi. Thank you for being here, and thank you to everyone else who's here. Oh, there's a few people. Okay. Nice. Okay. I wasn't sure if there were people yet, so we can start. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah,
happy 2022.
We're a little bit late, but still we haven't met, so
yeah.
Happy New Year! Cheers! It's morning where I am, so I have coffee.
It's afternoon, so I got water.
Me too. For me too is.
Oh, it's true. Because `𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 is in Mexico. Nicole is in Toronto, my hometown.
Yeah, we're in the same time zone, I think.
Yeah.
I think so. It's 11 in here, and for you, Nicole?
11.
It's 5 o'clock here.
We're exactly the same time. So,
you're from Toronto, Eliza?
I mean, I like to say that I'm from Montreal, but I was born in Toronto. But I grew up in Montreal, so like it feels like, you know, there is that funny clash between Toronto and Montreal. So I feel like
I was born in like a small town, but I just tell everyone I'm from Toronto.
What small town? Is it like Scarborough or something?
No, it's like Chatham, Ontario. It's like
I know Chatham. Okay, no, I've heard of Chatham. I used to have my family had like a summer place near like North Bay, which I don't know if that's near Chatham at all, but it's like another small town kind of spot. So yeah, yay, another Canadian. We ended off 2021 with Matt, who is also from Canada, also from Toronto, I think, and we started off with another Torontonian, which is lovely.
Lots
Nicole.
of Canadians. Yeah, which by the way, maybe for the people in the chat that has no idea who you are, Nicole, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Wait, before she gives us all of the goods, can everyone hear us? Because I'm the one managing everything today, and this is kind of stressing me out, and I want to make sure that my levels from my end seem okay, but can you guys confirm or deny that you can hear us? No one's saying anything, so I'm going to assume that yes. It's fine.
I'm Nicole Vella.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite things to do, talk about myself. No, I'm Nicole Vella. I'm from Toronto. I am a student, a teacher. I code shaders. I'm a web developer. Yeah, I mean, that's like basically like the top level of who I am. I've been in web development for a long time. I made my first website when I was like 14 in GeoCities, like Eliza, we're Team GeoCities. And I kind of like just dabbled in web development. I'm completely self-taught when it comes to programming. I have no formal training, except I took one class of shader coding with Jeremy Rothstein, shout out 3 vertices on Instagram. He was my teacher. He's amazing. He may or may not be watching right now. So I taught myself web development, and I went to college for graphic design, like ilithya. Similar, I started in graphic design, and I switched to web development, and a whole bunch of things happened in life, and I realized kind of like life is really short, and maybe I should go get that art degree that I always wanted. So I'm back in school now at 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃 University, which is an art university in Toronto. And I'm studying digital futures. And yeah, that's kind of my life right now.
I'm so curious. I have 3 questions. What do you teach? What's art school like? And what are digital futures?
So I mean, technically, I guess I'm a teacher assistant. I'm not actually a teacher. But I mean, whatever, semantics.
It's the same, yeah. Yeah.
It's Intro to Computer Science is
cool.
what I TA for. And shout out Adam Tyndale, who I'm pretty sure is watching.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you don't burn your cake, Adam. I know he's baking a cake right now. Yeah, so the questions, what do I teach? Intro to Computer Science. What was the second one?
What is art school like? Because like I always wanted to go, but then also like, I don't know. You're already making art, so like why go to art? Like you're already an artist. Exactly,
right. I hate calling myself an artist. I don't like feel like an artist. I don't know why. But other people call me an artist, so it's cool. I'm starting to warm up to the idea that maybe I am an artist. Art school, it's
like, what's it like?
I have to be careful with what I say because I also work at 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃.
Oh,
so I don't
okay, wait.
like...
We don't need to answer this on camera. You can always tell me after if you want.
Art school is great. I mean, there's definitely some complaints that I would have about the specific school that I go to, but I'm sure that there's complaints like that at every school.
Nothing's perfect.
It's cool. Critique is fun. Getting input from other people on your work is a lot of fun. I like that sort of thing.
Uncomfortable with like hearing people's critiques in person, I think. I don't want to, I'm happy to know it, but like send it as a text message or something.
At first it is like, it's very like nerve-wracking, but I worked in advertising for 12 years, 13 years. So I've pitched a lot of creative in advertising, and when you pitch creative in advertising to a client, the clients don't care about your emotions or your mental well-being. They just will tear your ideas down. So I kind of got a bit of a thick skin working in advertising, which helped me during those critiques, like when people would, I don't want to say bad things about my work or whatever, but suggest improvements, we'll say, to my work. It kind of like water off a duck's back, like it just rolled off, like it wasn't that bad for me.
I feel like there's no way to grow up anyway if you don't receive feedback.
I mean,
because I work in the advertising as well space for a long time, and you even criticize yourself as colleagues, like when you sit and bounce ideas before you even go to the client, right? Like, but I think if you cannot take it, there's no way that you will be able to improve such areas, because we all need to grow, right? So if you're enclosed and you're like angry or sad that you got feedback, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to you, like I will do my way, you will never grow.
No, that's true. I feel like if people can deliver it in constructive ways, then it's okay. But I lasted like a year and a half in advertising and like never looked back because it was awful. People are so brutal. But I'm also like,
it is true.
My skin is not so thick.
People are definitely kind and sincere, like during critique and art school. Some of the professors are a little bit curt and to the point.
I like curt. Yeah, I'll take curt.
Your other students are pretty they're pretty kind, and even if they are like suggesting improvements, they're not like, oh, your work is terrible and blah blah blah. So it's not that bad. But I think a bigger question is why I went back to art school, and that answer is like, I mean, I could talk for a long time about why I went back to school. I didn't go back to school to get a job or anything after school, because I feel like I'm already like employable. I went back to school because it's something I've always wanted to do. Like literally, it's fulfilling a desire to have that piece of paper that says Bachelor of Fine Art. Like that's what I want.
That's the best reason to go back to school, I think. Yeah.
Also to grow my network. So like I only moved to Toronto in 2015. Okay. So moving to like a new city as like an older I mean, I'm not old, but like I'm not a teenager by any means. it's hard to meet new people, right? So I thought, like going back to school, I could grow my network. I can meet more people, meet more creative people. And although I went back as a mature student, so I'm a lot older than the other students in class. I'm making
They
friends
actually
with professors.
categorize you as a mature student?
Yeah, once you're like over
Rude.
25.
Rude.
Well, I know. You're 26 and you're a mature student if you're 26.
No, that's so ridiculous.
But I'm making friends with my professors who are like basically my age. And it's led to like, I've got this job through it. I've gotten some commissions from it. It's been good. I would have never found out about Curiously Minded if I didn't learn shaders and I would have never learned shaders if I didn't decide to go back to school.
How did you find Curiously Minded, by the way, now that you mentioned it?
Okay, wait. Sorry. I just got a message that we're glitching every 2 seconds. Oh, I see it on my iPad. I see it on my iPad. But I have good fiber internet. Okay, we're back. Okay, are we glitching?
I saw it, but I thought it was my internet.
Well, that's why my friend just messaged me.
I thought it was my internet all the time.
Can you guys still? Oh, yeah, I can see it on my iPad. Yeah, my internet is being weird. Okay, wait, like maybe let me turn my iPad off so that it's not on the internet while we're streaming. Would that do it? But that shouldn't be a problem. Why would maybe it's because I have my iPhone. Would that do it? My iPhone, my iPad, and my computer?
I don't think so.
All good for me.
But you have fiber, you said, right?
Yeah, we've got.
Because if you have fiber, like when I'm in Germany, I'm in many devices. Sometimes my boyfriend is watching like stuff on or stream, and it still works. So I don't think it's that.
People in the chat say that it's okay. Someone said I'm a legend. I'll take it. Okay, we'll just keep streaming, I guess. That's because I hit the pause button. Okay, sorry, my bad. Okay, I totally interrupted you as you were. You were talking about making friends.
Yeah, so I went back to grow my network, meet new people, get new opportunities. Because even though I don't necessarily call myself an artist, like ideally, if I could just make cool stuff and get paid to make cool stuff, like that's the goal here. And that's the dream. What is Digital Futures? Oh gosh.
Because that seems like a big word, right? I've heard it in a lot of design conferences, but I never know what that actually is.
It's such a broad topic. You can kind of take it it's this specific program. You can take it in any direction you want to go. A lot of the focus is like game art and game design. That's not really my thing. I'm not a video gamer at all. I'm taking it more in the generative art and code as material to create art. Like that's the path that I'm taking. And also like building little robots that draw pictures and stuff like that. So when people say, what do you do in Digital Futures? My quick response is, I can't draw, but I can write code and build robots that draw for me. That's kind of my thing.
I love that. I love it.
Eliza, bless you for going through all these
I feel though
troubles.
Like I'm letting my past self down because I studied video. I feel like I should know all of this like the back of my hand, but I really don't. To be fair, it was a different time. But there was no digital video streaming system when I was in school. But still.
It seems that we're back. And
hey.
I hope that there's no glitch.
Okay, I lowered all of the things, so... Oh, no, you see my messy bed. Hopefully, if there's anyone still out there.
Yeah, there's a few people.
Really? You guys are so sweet, all of you people who hang out with us. Thank you. Okay, it seems good. Okay, yeah, we seem fine. I think it was the bit rate. I apologize.
Okay, so
it was all my fault. We were blaming Twitch. We have a circle. And it's
Let's
beautiful.
do a little recap. We started with the circle, a gradient circle. We turned that into a hard edge circle using the step function. And then we made that a little bit more modular by creating our own draw circle function that takes 4 arguments. So I guess one thing that we should do is draw a circle. We should like change. I find if you changed it, like our blur, which is our anti-aliasing, the cheap way of doing it through smooth step, not using the beautiful AA step function that Matt introduced a couple weeks ago. We can add that at the end. And then we started playing around with some color for our circle and some gradients. If you like, I don't know. I'm not super into all these functions, or I don't super understand what they all mean. I know this is taking the power of two vectors, and if you do that, you get this nice kind of this pastel gradient that matches Ithilia's clouds.
It's true. It matches your lovely background.
So pretty. It's so
So
pretty.
we'll stick with it. We'll stick with these colors for now. Actually, no, we might not stick with these colors because I forgot to show the super cool way to make gradients. And shout out Inigo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but I'm going to share a link in the chat that I don't know if you want to like bring this up. How can I get the chat? Where's the chat? There's the chat. Which is like a link to the shader toy that just shows.
What is that?
Oh,
It's a link to the shader toy that we're going to use to build our gradients.
Screen. Here we go. Hey, oh right, palettes. We do love palettes.
So I can't see it, so it's a little bit weird, but what you're looking at is Inigo. I'm not sure how to pronounce their name, but he wrote these.
It's Inigo. Yeah.
Inigo. Inigo's palette function, which takes I think it's 5 arguments. The first one is like an x-axis or a y-axis to make your gradient go horizontally or vertically. You could also think of that as something that changes over time. It's a float, and then it takes 4 more floats, A, B, C, and D, and those 4 floats are used to create a cosine palette, a palette based on the cosine of those vectors, I think is vaguely what it means. So I'm just going to replace the values with the gradient that we just made.
But hold on, you're putting brackets?
Yeah, I'm going to go in and change those.
Oh, okay.
Because when you copy it from that page, it gives you square brackets.
Oh, okay.
But what we want is like these. And this is also very like soothing for me to like code and fix text that's like repetitive like this, like pushing the up arrow and then erasing and then doing. Dan does a lot of things like this live on stream, the coding train person, and he apologizes because he's like, I can't help it. I have to like do it like this because it's like a neurotic thing. But anyway, so I'll put the last one in here.
It's better to be organized. It's better to be organized, I think.
Oh, I love it.
So now we have our lovely purple to orange gradient that we built using this lovely dev.thing gradients tool. The next step we want to do is add some noise. Noise is a function that we have to bring in because it's not built in. But what noise is it's a random value with distributed like along a mean. So if you think of random numbers, a random number might be a random value between 1 and 10 might be a string of them might be like 1, 3, 7, 2, 5, 8, 9, 10, 0. They're all over the place. Whereas if you were to use noise and get like a string of numbers based on noise, which are also random, they're distributed along a mean. So it might be something like 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 2. Like it goes a lot smoother like that. So rather than just random like static on a TV screen, on an old TV screen, you get like it's more smooth than that. That's
Okay.
a very brief description of what noise is. Now there's a few noise functions. We're going to use the ones from Ian McEwen and Stefan Gustafsson, which I can post. I don't know if this is the noise that you two already used, but here is the link for that where I'm grabbing.
I was looking at this just yesterday. That's so funny. I was like, I wonder which one she's going to want to use. I was looking it up. So we've
Is
got
it the GIST
WebGL
or the-
noise on GitHub. There's a lot of different noises available in here, though.
Yeah, so what we're going to be using is I personally like classic noise the most, but I'm
Okay.
going to also show you the difference between classic noise and simplex noise. And the simplex noise function is coming from Patricio Gonzalez. And I'll just because I like to show my sources. That's what I tell my students, always cite your sources. So I have to do that too. So we're going to show the difference between those two functions. And I'm going to just copy and paste these functions in because there's no way I could type these in.
Cool. Okay. So we've got these two. Where are you? You're over here. Okay.
So we now have, there's actually 3 noise functions in here. We're bringing in a 2D simplex noise and a 2D and a 3D classic noise. We're going to use the 3D classic noise to animate color, but that's a little bit later on. So if we want to affect this circle with some noise, then there's a spot that makes the most sense to do that. I'm going to organize this a little bit more here.
Okay, wait, where are you at now? Because there's a lot of code in our code editor suddenly. What line are you
Line 213.
213.
Yes, 213. So
here we go.
our circle is drawn onto our ST, so we can add noise to our circle like in a few different ways. We can add noise to the ST, we can add noise to its position, or we can add noise to its size. And all 3 will break apart the circle in the way that we want. I like to do noise on the ST though. So we'll start with some C noise and we'll just pass the ST. That's it. And because C noise is returning a float, and what we need is a vec2 here. So we'll just return, we'll cast it to a vec2. And now you see our circle, but it's kind of it's more like a wave. It's stretched out like a wave. So there's some values that you can pass into noise so you can manipulate it better. And the 2 most important things you can pass into noise, and from my perspective, are a seed and a scale. Noise is deterministic, which is to say every time you run your shader and you use the noise function, given the same input, the output will always be the same. It's deterministic. You can determine the noise field. It's not, it doesn't change every time it's not random. So because it's deterministic, you can use a seed as like a starting point for your noise. So that way you can have multiple noise fields that don't mimic each other or don't like look the exact same. They're offset from one another based on their seed. So we can just add a seed value into here. I'll just put 50 and you add that. So this is just going to change where our wave is.
So it's like an
totally
offset.
Made it go. Yeah, it's like an offset, and it totally made it go off screen there. I wasn't expecting it to go completely off screen.
One can also create like a random seed generator so that every time you run a program, right. Like I do that in processing sometimes.
So the thing that I add with my seed is you add the seed to like some scale of the noise. So, and then you multiply. Oh, you know why? Right? Because the seed goes inside the noise. That's why.
That would make sense. Yes.
That makes a lot more sense.
With the float, not the.
And
I started to see.
If I change this to like 50.1, it will look like a little bit different. If I change it to 50.2, it will look a little bit different. If I change it to like 150.2, it will look completely different because now we're in a totally different spot in the noise field. So we have our seed. The next thing we do is add scale to our noise. Right now, the scale is just at 1.0. So if we want to add our seed to our scale. So let's just use a scale of 10. Now we'll see the noise is broken up a lot more.
Love it. Very
and you
cute.
can control this, like I can make this 100 and now look very broken up, and you can almost start to see it tiling. Noise actually tiles.
Yeah,
Eventually it will tile. But that's too big. Let's stick to something around 10. You can also go smaller, like half, which will just make the kind of wave effect that we have more pronounced. And we're going to get into using a scale less than 1 when we start animating the gradients. For now, we'll just stick with 10. So we have a circle that we sharpened the edges of, and we colored it with a gradient, and now we affected it with some noise, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The next step is to add some life to this and animate the noise. The easiest way to do that is just to add, you guys just have it as time, right? So I can just use time.
Yeah.
Is it time?
The easiest way to do that is just to add time to the S and T. But as you see, we're getting, you know what? One thing I want to show before we start animating is the difference between classic noise and simplex noise.
Yeah.
So
because right now we have classic.
It's very clear.
So this is classic noise. I believe classic noise is based on Perlin noise. I just want to tell a little bit of story about where noise comes from. Has anyone ever talked about where noise comes from on the stream?
No, I don't think so.
No. Go ahead.
Classic noise is based on this idea of Perlin noise that was created by Ken Perlin in the 80s. And Ken created this as a way for the Hollywood industry and computer graphics to generate realistic terrains. He actually created it for the original Tron movie. That was the first time that Perlin noise was used. And so he wrote this function that, distributed random numbers along a mean. But what I think is fascinating about that is it was groundbreaking, and everyone was so amazed by it, and it was such it pushed Hollywood forward big time in the department of computer graphics and stuff. But he didn't win an Academy Award because they said it was cheating. So for years and years, Ken Perlin was denied recognition because they said it was cheating and it wasn't real effects. That's like we were talking at the beginning of the stream, where unless you code it all from scratch yourself, then it's cheating. Yeah. But anyway, eventually they reversed their decision. And I think it was in the early 2000s or late 90s that they gave him his award that he well deserved.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's where Perlin noise comes from. So classic noise but Perlin noise is copyrighted. Classic noise is like a riff on classic Perlin noise, but it's open source. It's released under MIT. Okay, so that's noise.
That. Okay, cool. Let's do simplex. Do we already have? We pasted that one in already, right?
Yeah, simplex noise is up there. So with simplex noise, which takes the same value in ST as classic noise, it looks a lot more boxy. You get a lot more of these I don't know if you can see my cursor, probably not. You get a lot of these right angles almost, and I don't like the look of that. If you
it's less random, kind of.
Yeah, it's getting an 80s vibe
because it looks more structured somehow.
Yeah.
You can reduce the scale a bit, and that you kind of see less of that. But I much prefer the texture of classic noise over simplex noise, which is really strange because when I'm programming in processing or P5, I much prefer simplex noise to the classic Perlin noise. So I don't know, there's obviously some different maths that are happening, but yeah, I much prefer classic noise in shaders. But that's the difference between classic noise, I'll show it again real quick, and simplex noise.
I've only ever really used simplex noise to actually deform vertexes. I've never used it as a visual pattern, so it's interesting to see the difference here. I think I like C noise better personally as well.
There's this thing called curl noise too, which I just discovered, which is super, super cool. Yeah. But it really only works in a 3D space. It works a lot better in a 3D space. Okay, so we have our noise, and then we were going to animate it really simply by just adding time. But when we just add time, it's adding time to the X and the Y of the ST, so it's moving diagonally. So if we want it to not move diagonally, we can just pass a vec2 in here and only affect it on the y value of that. And now we have noise that moves only up and down, which is also pretty cool, right? But something that we want is, this is kind of like, it's kind of boring motion. It's just these shapes are just moving down on the screen. They're not changing or animating at all. So you see that we're passing a vec2 in here. I don't know exactly why this works, but if we just pass st.y in here, so we're only affecting noise on like one of the things, now we get this.
Ooh, I was wondering how you had the in-out.
Lovely.
That quality of like, it knows where the screen ends. Like how does it, I love it. That's so cool.
This, I'm not sure exactly like why it does that, but now you see it's kind of like draws in at the bottom and it disappears, or draws in at the top and disappears at the bottom. And if we have like a smaller scale on our noise, then that gloopy animation becomes like even more pronounced.
I love it.
So maybe we want somewhere in the middle. Maybe we'll go like 7. So that's pretty cool.
That is really, really
Lovely.
It's like,
you can also, I'm just gonna hold on a second. I'm just going to load up the shader that I based all of this stuff on, because there's one thing I want to do, but I forget where it is exactly. Okay, so something we can also do is we can add noise to the size of the the position of our circle too. I'm just rearranging all my windows and dragging things so that it all lines up. So we can also pass noise into here. And this is like, a lot of my code isn't super efficient. Like I'm going to be calling this noise function a lot, and that's why it can like really start to slow down if your computer's not if your computer's really slow. But yeah, my shaders aren't coded for efficiency by any means. So in here we'll pass vec2. Actually, we can just pass our st in here. I need another bracket. So this like changes like where the drawing point is on screen, which isn't necessarily what I was expecting. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. We're gonna actually change this. We're gonna change that back. We'll bring that in a little bit later. What we can do is, to make it a little bit more crawly, we can, on here, instead of just passing in st.y, we can pass in, you guessed it, more noise. So now we've got like noise inside noise.
Noise inception. Is this how you did the layering?
No, so the layering we'll do with like mix functions.
Okay,
and
yeah. Okay.
Am I missing a bracket, or what am I missing here?
You're missing the end bracket, maybe? Hold on. Yeah, the end bracket you're missing, right? Because it's inside the noise, the other noise.
No, that's...
Maybe you have an extra bracket here, I think. No. Hold on, let me read this.
So wait, you've got vec2, c noise, and another vec2.
C noise has 2 parameters, because you have 2 parameters inside C noise.
Yeah, it should. Okay, I'm just gonna copy what I have over here because this should work.
Do it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna copy and paste.
That's okay. We have no rules about having to type everything in these parts. Ooh, very nice.
So now all I did, and I'm not sure exactly why it wasn't working before, but at the end, instead of just passing instead of just passing st.y, I'll show you the difference. So I'll copy this st.y. So this, if we just pass in the st.y, it grows and then it shrinks at the bottom. But if we pass noise in, then we get this like creepy crawly. So that's like blobs are now crawling down the screen. And this is really awesome. Now we're getting into some pretty exciting movement using noise layered on top of noise. And we might even go 3 levels deep with noise at some point. We're going to get wild. But to me, this animation is cool, but it's still kind of boring because it's moving in one direction and it doesn't stop. It's always moving constantly at the same speed, which you might want, but I think it would be really cool if we could have that animation move and then pause and then move and then pause and then move and then pause.
The staircase.
A staircase.
Yeah.
So like a smooth staircase. So there's a website called desmos.com/calculator. And if we can open that up, then I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If we can open that up, and then inside, whoever has it open on screen, and if you just type y equals x minus sin bracket x.
Got it. You've got a squiggly diagonal line.
So there's this, that's the smooth staircase. That's what the kind of motion that we want. But it would be really cool if we could like affect that so it wasn't always moving, you know, right now the motion's going to always be the same. If we can add variables to this function, then we can control the speed and control if it moves forward or moves backward or whatever. So inside the sin bracket x, if you just multiply that x by f, and then a little pop-up will say add slider f, click that.
Yep.
And now you have
cool.
now you have a slider that affects what I originally called the phase, but I don't think it's the phase. I think frequency is more accurate.
Frequency, yeah.
So that affects the frequency. Now you'll notice that we can have motion that goes forward and backward, or animation that just goes forward and pauses based on the value of our frequency. Now, if we also multiply the first x by s and then add another slider s for slope, we can change the slope of our staircase, which will kind of change the speed. As long as the slope is higher than the frequency, you will have motion that never goes backwards.
I don't know if I did that right, but I put x times s in brackets. Maybe I shouldn't have.
So it should just be x times s minus sin bracket f x times f.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And then it was doing the same thing. I guess there's just like, okay. Strange that it didn't.
Wait, maybe I might be able to do this. Can I do this?
I don't know.
Can you see?
Where are you?
I pasted a link in the chat that might have my exact formula there. I don't know if it.
I have 3 lines in this one.
Yeah, so there's 2 sliders, right? So you can change those 2 sliders, the S and the F.
I have 3. I have a green line, a blue line, and an orange dotted line, and I have 2 vectors. These look like notes. Hold on.
How can I share my screen? Is that possible?
Yeah, you just click share your screen. But I think that I have what you said. I have y equals x times s minus sine bracket x times f.
And then there should be 2 sliders beneath that. There should only be 1. Oh, okay. So then that's perfect. Yeah. So you can see it when you change the sliders. You can change the slope and you can change the frequency.
Yeah.
As long as the slope is a higher value than the frequency, then you'll always have motion that moves forward in one direction and comes to a pause. So now that we have this smooth stair function, how might that look in GLSL? I will show you that right now.
Yay.
So it's a one-liner. I'm just going, actually, no, you know what? I will type it in because it's not even that long.
Wait, what line are you?
I was looking at the wrong, I was looking at my, like in VS Code, my shader, and I was like, wait a minute, when did I program all this stuff? I was looking at the wrong window. Okay, so I'm gonna go to line
I see you on line 217. Oh, you
190, 196.
Oh, okay.
So we'll put our function in here. So it returns a float, smooth stair. It takes 3 floats, some value that changes over time. So maybe we'll call that t, and a float for slope and a float for frequency. So float smooth equals our t, which is our time, times our slope, which is s, minus the sign of time times frequency. So
okay.
that
Cool.
why are we getting an error? Float smooth? Oh, because this doesn't have a return. Return smooth. What's going on?
It's still got an error.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Float, smooth.
That's strange. Does it have an error?
T. I mean, wait, let's comment the whole thing out for a second and just see. Okay. And then if we comment this out for a second.
Which line are you now?
We're on 196.
Oh, there's much there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got lost a little bit.
Okay. So
Okay, I'm gonna copy and paste one that I know works.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try this. I don't know. Maybe there's something broken with my keyboard. I have no idea, but
No, it happens.
essentially,
Little typos. Sometimes we just don't know.
so what is here now is just what I wrote before, just expressed as a one line defined. That's all. That's the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and let's change this because I used to call it phase, but it's not the phase. It's more like the frequency. So I'll just change that to F. So now you see that our animation, like I said, it's moving in one direction. Mm-hmm. It's not pausing at all. No. What if we define an animation, and that equals smooth, and that equals smooth stair, and we want to take time, and for now we'll just pass in 1.0 and 0.9. Mm-hmm. And now, instead of using time to animate, we use our animation. And now we have something that goes and stops.
Oh, and so lovely.
Goes and stops.
Yeah. I love it.
And we can change the speed of that, you know, by as you saw in when Eliza was showing the graphing calculator, we can just change these numbers and change the value. So if I make this higher than the other one, so let's just make it 1.9. Now we'll get some forward and backward motion, almost like a ball traveling down a flight of stairs or something. Like and we can make it by changing the slope, by increasing the slope, we can make it a lot faster.
Yeah, that's so nice.
It's really
but that's really too fast. So we'll just stick with.
Yeah. There.
This is a nice kind of.
Yeah, that was nice.
Wow.
So we have a circle that we colored with a gradient, that we affected with noise, and now we started animating that noise. So that's basically that's the workflow of creating one of these color falls.
That's wild
Now,
that it all starts with a circle.
all we do is, a lot of the stuff I do, I like to start with simple shapes, and then I just push to see how far I can push that shape until it breaks. I like pushing things until they break. So now all we do to create layers here, well, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of this circle, which is positions. The size is here. If I increase the size, then it's going to take up more of the screen. And if this is our this is going to be essentially our background layer. So I want it to take up a lot of the screen. I might even want to do like 1.15. So now all we do is we'll just take this circle and we'll draw another circle. Circle 2. Let's just call this.
To layer them up, right?
Yeah, let's call this circle 1 just so that. I think that should be good. Okay, yeah, to start layering them up. Now, if I were to just layer circle 2 right on top of, well, I mean, we could, let's just demonstrate that.
There's nothing that you can actually see because they're overlapped with
they're
each
the
other.
same color.
So you need to move the SD a little bit on the second one so that you can see it.
So if I mix our other one, it goes right on top and you can't see. And as 𝗙𝗶𝗱𝗀 said, that's because the noise field is the same, right? We're in the same spot. If we just change our seed value, now our noise field on our second circle starts in a different spot than on the first circle.
Wait, where did you change that? I'm sorry, I need to.
The seed.
Oh, yeah, but I'm looking in the code, like what line?
225?
Line 225.
Ah, okay. So you added 30? Is that the...
Yeah, so it used to be 10 because it was using the same seed as on line 215.
My bad. Yeah. I see it. I follow now. Okay. So we've got.
So I just changed this to like 30, and now it's using a different seed. And maybe we want our second circle to be a little bit more kind of broken up. So maybe we'll change the scale of the noise to 12. And we want to make it a little bit smaller so it takes up less. So now we're getting something that's starting to look pretty interesting. Let's do another circle.
Nice.
Circle 3. We want to change its seed.
And you could actually, I guess you could also change even the noise pattern if you wanted.
Exactly.
Wild.
And what we'll also do is you can change circle 3. And we'll get a different gradient on that where our colors, let's use our pastel gradient for the last one. So it's pretty cool, but it would be even more cool if everything animated a little bit differently. So I'm up on line 211.
Okay,
all right.
Got you. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Now you're going to create different animations then.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just do animation 2, animation 3, and we want these to be a little bit different. So maybe this one is, I hate Windows because I press the insert key and then it overwrites instead of, anyway. I'm on Windows right now, not my Mac, and it's not the most intuitive platform. So now we have 3 animations that are slightly offset from one another. And if we just plug those into here.
That's awesome.
Now we kind of have like this fall effect.
Colors, yeah.
But, so if you like the slope and the frequency, like I like how long of a pause it's taking and how long of an animation it's taking, but you just think it's moving too fast, excuse me, you can just multiply, your time by just slow that one down a little bit.
Super cool. Wow.
You have this thing that's like constantly moving, but it's still the layers individually pause and animate, which I think is pretty cool. Now, but you see, it's just layering one right on top of one another. What we want to do is we want to blend these layers together, and you can use, there's blending modes like Photoshop blending modes in GLSL. I'm sure that you both are familiar with them, Photoshop blending modes in GLSL. I'm going to paste it in.
I don't know if I've ever used them.
I personally don't use them a lot, but we can use them. What we can do is we'll use them in maybe a little bit of a different way. I won't use the exact function maybe. So what we want to do is we want to start mixing these layers. So the easiest way to mix is,
which line are you now?
I'm on line 262. So the easiest way to mix is, instead of just doing an equals, just do a times equals, which is like the easiest way to mix. And now we have some transparency, and yeah, that's like color burn, right? You can also do a difference, and to do the blending mode difference, you take the absolute of the color, and then you take the absolute of your mix, and then you minus its color, and then this is the difference. So it's like the opposite color value of the it's the blend mode difference in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do, I'll just undo that. Another thing you could do is you could just take the power of, and this is the one that I like to do, of the mix of the color and then the color. And you get these
so
pastel.
So lovely.
I love it. That's so fun.
Yeah, me too.
So one thing I want to do is I want to do another circle. But I want this circle to be like big and droopy noise. So it's I'm on line 247. So it's, instead of its scale being high, I'm going to use a lower scale. I'm going to actually just use 1, so it's not so the noise isn't so broken up. So you get like a more of like a drip kind of look, a drippy kind of feel to it. And I'll put that one on the very top. Color _4, and maybe we want to do, maybe we'll make another gradient here, but this one will be, we'll take these values.
I love that layer of purple pink. It's so nice.
So now we have like a bigger droop happening on top with that last circle that we had. But you'll notice that there's still, like, you see these, they're still overlapping. Like you see, like, we don't want that. We don't want these holes happening. That's because on our circles, this second value of noise, we're using the same seed, right?
Oh, right.
But you can change the seeds now.
Yeah, let's just change those seeds.
Love it. Oops. There you are. So cool.
Now we have these 4 layers. None of them are overlapping directly on top of one another. They're moving in this kind of, and this is, I mean, we're basically at the end of one of my color falls.